Hi, in today's lesson we're going to go over the energy sources where we get our energy from. This is the very last lesson of the school year, so let's make it count. Alright, so the first thing we're going to go over is what is our energy used for? Practically everything is it used for. So if you look at this list here, we have electricity for your house. So like right now, I'm able to have the lights on, powering any of your devices. Notice that, you plug those into a charger that's connected to the electricity. That all uses energy in your house. Also, if you think about like your AC, your refrigerator, even heating up your hot water takes energy. Some other things that are used for energy is transportation. So driving your car, driving your truck, planes take up a lot of energy, and all those deliveries to like from Amazon to the grocery store, all of that takes up energy in the form of gasoline. Then we have agriculture, which is raising crops like our food, and also raising livestock like cattle, pigs, that kind of stuff. All of that takes a lot of energy to be able to raise them. We also have construction, building new houses, building new businesses. Mining takes up a lot of energy. And think about like electricity for hospitals, schools, and business. So again, all of that takes up a lot of energy. So down here at this picture here, that is some power lines. That is how our energy does get to our house and to our business and to our hospital and to our school. All right, so two things that you need to know about our energy sources. We have two major types of energy sources. We have energy that we use up within our lifetime, and then we have energy that can be reused over and over again. So let's first go over the one that we constantly use up, and that's the non-renewable. So non-renewable is a natural source of energy that cannot be readily replaced by natural means at a quick enough pace to keep up with consumption. So basically that just means we use a lot of it and it can't be replaced within our lifetime. And the reason for that is because fossil fuels are made from fossils, which takes millions of years for them to turn into coal and gasoline. It's a very long process. So for us to get fossil fuels, at least right now, it takes millions of years for those to form. And we mine those out of the ground. Now, the other type of energy is called renewable. That means it can be replaced within our lifetime. It's not used up. We can reuse it over and over again. So like, for example, the solar panel, as long as the sun's out and shining, it can make energy. All right, so if we look at the types of energy that we have, they fall in these two categories that you can see on your screen. We have renewable and we have the non-renewable. So let's first go over non-renewable. This is your oil, coal, like with charcoal even. Nuclear energy is non-renewable because it uses uranium. And natural gas, that is actually extracted from the ground too. So those are usually coming from fossil fuels, and those are the non-renewable sources. Now, for the renewable ones, this is like your solar energy, your hydropower, that's like with like from the waves. We got our wind energy, something called geothermal, and biomass. So these are examples of each type. Now, currently in the United States, about 80% of our energy is non-renewable. Why is this a bad thing? It's a bad thing because for multiple reasons. One, non-renewable energy sources like fossil fuels produce a lot of pollution. So, and that could be air pollution, water pollution, nuclear waste. Also, it's the leading cause for climate change currently because it adds CO2 into our air. Another bad thing is that this is a source of energy that will run out. It will run out eventually, so we need to be able to keep reusing our energy sources like the solar or wind energy so that we don't have to rely on these non-renewable sources. So we use it up faster than it can be replaced, which means that we will eventually run out of it. Now, why do we still use this type of energy if it's non-renewable and we can't reuse it? One big reason is the price. Renewable energy sources are very expensive, but non-renewable, like your fossil fuels, are very cheap. Gasoline is very cheap right now. I know I just filled up my tank for less than $20, especially if people are not traveling as much right now, like with the quarantine and stuff. So fossil fuels are very, very cheap, and you get a good amount of energy out of them. Also, our entire infrastructure, our entire society already runs on fossil fuels, like with our cars, our trucks, and some people's homes even. So it's hard to change a system that's already in place. Now, what that means is that we need to start looking into these renewable sources of energy because, like I said, eventually we will run out of energy from fossil fuels. So my favorite is probably solar energy, because solar energy, we know the sun's not going to run out anytime soon. So we can use these solar panels to take and harvest that energy from the sun. And honestly, if the sun runs out, we got bigger problems on our hands besides just how we're going to power our house and stuff. So solar energy, in my opinion, is probably the way to go. But honestly, using all of these types of energy in some way all around the world and all around our country is what's going to lessen our dependence on fossil fuels. We also have wind energy, which uses the big windmills. We have geothermal. Geothermal actually uses the heat from the Earth's core, which is really cool. So they're actually located near the cracks of the Earth where the plate tectonics are, which is a good and a bad thing. Bad thing is because they're more prone to getting earthquakes nearby these geothermal plants because of that. But it's a good thing because there's a lot of hot steam that comes out from the plate tectonics. So we can use that hot steam to use it for geothermal energy. Then we have hydroelectric energy, which is where dams are usually built to use the power from flowing water, typically a river. And dams are built to control the flow of the river. Now, we also use something called biomass, which biomass is from a fast-growing plant, like let's say corn, for example. We can break down corn to make gasoline, which is called ethanol. And that ethanol fuel can be used to actually be mixed into our regular gasoline. Then we have tidal energy, which is using the ocean waves. So these are all alternatives for clean and more renewable energy that we can use to lessen our dependence on fossil fuels. The only downside is that these are actually the main downside is these are more expensive to use. And to get people to use them, we would have to change our infrastructure that we currently have. So that's where the government needs to come into place to make these decisions for us. Right now, we use about, of all of our energy sources, we use about 10% that comes from renewable. All right, so here's a couple of pictures for you to show you the windmill that's used for wind energy. The wind turbine turns and the power goes to a generator, which will go down to basically what we know as, power lines. So wind energy can, as long as the wind is blowing, we can get energy from it. Now, I will say that wind energy is not as powerful. So for these to really work well, you have to have a good constant stream of wind, usually on the shoreline or up in the mountains. I know we actually have one of these windmills in North Carolina. All right. Inside the hydropower plant, so this is where the dams are. The dams are built to control the flow of the river. And then as the river flows past the turbine, it generates power and kinetic energy, which is used to start electricity to power homes and stuff. All right, here's the geothermal. So the hot water is used from the core, and that makes steam, which turns the turbine, which eventually makes electricity through the generators. All right, so this lesson was on the energy sources and just some of the renewable and the non-renewable energy sources. Again, we currently use more of the non-renewable here in the United States. Hopefully, we'll start to switch over and start to see more of the solar energy, the wind energy, and some of the other ones. All right, guys, have a good day.